There is a reason that the women's 400 has been widely considered the event of the Tokyo 2025 World Championships, and that was before we even saw the heats in the semifinals. Now that we have seen the heats in the semifinals, the rationale, I suppose, has changed, but the theme has not. This is the event to watch at the Tokyo 2025 World Championships, largely in part due to one name, Sydney McLaughlin-Levrone, the Olympic champion, the world champion, the world record holder over 400 hurdles, finally getting to take her crack at her first global title over 400 meters. And we got to consider the clock as well, because in the semis, she dropped an American record by 0.4 of a second and change, 48:29, easing up. In similar fashion almost to Marileidy Paulino, one of the other women that will be vying for this global title, did in the Paris Olympic final when she ran the Olympic record of 48:17. The difference is that was the end of Paulino's season, so we didn't get to see what was left on the table at that night in Paris. Here in Tokyo, just 2 days removed, I'd say just a day removed if you consider the 1 day of rest, but either way it was 2 days ago, so we know Sydney's still in that fitness and with all the veteranship and experience and understanding of just her athletic capabilities that are second to none. I think we're going to see something special tonight. I was a bit worried about the rain, but I think the men's 400 squashed all that worry. We saw Buseng Colin Kebanachefi drop a 43.54 after having dropped his first ever sub-44 in the semis. So, yeah, that's a guy that's relatively new to the scene, and this is an established veteran with arguably some of the greatest execution ability that the sport has ever seen. No matter how much you formalize it, Sydney McLaughlin-Levrone, she could already retire and consider herself a GOAT. She is just that good. But we've got to consider the rest of the competition because that's what it's ultimately going to take to bring that performance out of her. Huge shout out to Anderson Emerald and Coach Rob, two guys that I've been watching a lot of content of lately. Make sure you go check them out. But leading up to this world final, you consider the different race strategies of the three big players. I mentioned Sydney. I mentioned Paulino. She likes to hang back a little bit. She doesn't have the greatest 200 speed on paper, but she just knows how to stretch it out like the best of them. And then there's Salwa Eid Naser, the third fastest woman in history from Doha 2019 when she ran 48:14 to defeat Shawnee Miller-Weibo in an epic race, a gutsy race before her suspension. She is back. The new era has arrived for Salwa, and her strategy remains the same. Go out in suicide pace for that first 300 and somehow find the endurance to hold it up over the last 100. NBC giving a rightful overview of Sydney's extensive accolades across the 4 hurdles, across the relays, all the medals. And at the bottom right there, that's an important one that I probably wasn't going to mention had they not put it there. So huge shout out to their graphics team for mentioning she's only got 2 career losses over the 400 flat. She just doesn't lose when it comes to one-lap races. She might have lost a couple in the shorter variety and Grand Slam track earlier this year, but that was just early season fun. This is championship season. This is where Sydney knows how to place herself. And there's some other women that have some glory to vie for. There's the Olympic bronze medalist and world silver medalist in lane number 8. She'll be 1 lane behind Paulino. That'll be Natalia Kaczmarek. Now, Natalia Bukowiecka from Poland, who hasn't had the best of seasons, but clearly with her 49.6 in the semifinal, she's shown good progression. Don't know if she's going to get to her 48.9 form, her Polish record form that we saw from her last year. But you can't help but keep her in the conversation. There's Naser out of lane number 7. One thing I will add, the broadcast team invited Sonia Richards-Ross onto the call. She is sitting out these World Championships. I believe she just welcomed another baby into the earth, so congratulations, Sonia. Not on losing your American record, of course. It was her 48.70, and Sonia definitely one of the athletes that inspired me to love the 400, just watching her perseverance after getting run out of it in Beijing 2008 and coming back in London 2012 to get the gold. What else is there to consider in this final? it's mainly been about the three big players. They're the only faces that we've seen on the cameras thus far. Just watch an upset happen, guys. This is intense. I'm nervous. Are you guys nervous? Leave a like below if you're nervous, even though you probably already know what happened. If you don't know what happened, I'm glad I could be the first to witness what we're about to witness in this final with you. I think it's time we get a look at the full start lists. Paulino, World Olympic champion. She's gone barely inside 49 this season. I don't know if we're going to see her replicate her 48.17 that she showed in Paris. But she's running out of lane 9, and of course there's that suggestion, the Wade Van Niekerk effect, right? Running blind can inspire some adrenaline. Bukovetska caught Paulino as she slowed up towards the line in the semi. But Marileidy clearly has the better fitness and capabilities right now. Not a knock on Natalia, just the facts. Naser has beaten Paulino on various occasions. So you have to like that in terms of the battle for the silver and arguably the gold. Amber Anning. We know about all of her relay experience. World Indoor Champ. And there's Sydney McLaughlin doing her trademark sidestep. I want to keep the battle for the gold open, but after just watching the way she controlled the heats in the semis, it's hard to. It's the same effect when we considered Sydney versus Femke Bol in the 400 hurdles. It's just hard to consider it a contest when you think of how Sydney just stays so on top and ahead of the game. Roxana Gomez from Cuba, one of their all-time greatest 400 athletes. Same could be said for Norway and Henrietta Jager. And then Nikisha Price for Jamaica. Got to give justice to the entire field. And would love to see them go after personal bests. I think it's going to take sub-49-1. I don't think all three are going to get below 49 if I'm just going to be completely realistic. I'm expecting to be proven wrong. But I think with what we saw just moments ago, the track is still fast despite the rain. If we saw 43.54 from a newcomer on the men's side, then I am predicting right here, right now, that we are going to see our first sub-48 in 40 years for the women's 400. Let's see if that prediction comes true. Tokyo 2025 final. All eyes on lanes 5, 7, and 9. No immediate impact from McLaughlin Lavroni. Looked like Bukovetska got a little away from Naser, who's now starting to make the ground. Sydney McLaughlin Lavroni on the backstretch, passing Amber Anning. And as all the key players in her sights, all the global medalists are in front of her. And Marileidy Paulino running harder than we've arguably ever seen her run before. You would expect Salwa Eid Naser to have caught her at the very least by now, let alone Sydney McLaughlin Lavroni. But now comes the big challenge that is the final 100 meters. Around 34 with 100 to go. This could be historic. Sydney McLaughlin to the front. Paulino and Naser fighting it out for second. Sydney starting to tie up. It's close. 47.80. She did it. For the first time in 4 decades, the 48-second barrier is broken. 47.78, and look at that! Paulino, 47.96, the new number 3 all-time, and Naser, 48.19. She will stay number 4 with her 48.14 lifetime bests, but my goodness, did I say 49-1 to medal? I meant 48-1, guys. I totally did. Wow. Bukovetska, 49-2 for his season best. That was an all-around fast final. And it was hard to even tell that it was going to be that way with the conservative start of Sydney McLaughlin. But once she got going on that backstretch, it was game over. That was when the race really took off. That was when Paulino really started to separate. Probably the best first 200 we've ever seen from her, and we always know she's going to deliver in that last 200. Naser, She's a fighter, man. The fact that after all she's been through, I mentioned the suspensions and all the ups and downs of her career, the fact that she could get that back to the form that she showcased as a 21-year-old in Doha, incredible. But Sydney, if there were only a few less raindrops, man, Marita Koch's world record could have perhaps fallen. It stands. But just look at the way Sydney had to fight here. Paulino was not going away. Look at the arm action by Marileidy. She's pulling back, but Sydney just has that extra ounce of strength and determination. And I mentioned this in one of Anderson Emerald's videos of the final leg, how I thought that if Sydney won this gold coming into Worlds, it would be the biggest championship accomplishment of her career. I stand by that when you look at the way she was pushed, because we have not seen her pushed like this since Tokyo 2021, when Dalilah Muhammad led coming off of the final turn in the 400 hurdles. But Sydney is officially the queen of the one lap. Hurdles or without, make no more mistakes, guys. Let me know what you thought of this reaction video. Will Sydney attempt to go even faster when you're within 1800ths of the world record? It's hard to say no. How much faster do you think she will go? Whole lot to consider. Well, let's leave it off with 3 words. Sydney McLaughlin-Levrone. Hope you guys enjoyed. Like, comment, subscribe, and have a great day. Peace.